They've always got to go bigger, and in Jurassic World Dominion, they're introducing Giganotosaurus, a dinosaur from South America that's one of the few carnivores that got bigger than Tyrannosaurus Rex. At least we have some fossils that point to one being bigger than T-Rex. Its head is definitely huge. Some skulls would have measured 6 feet long for this animal. Ours has a bit of an underbite, though if you look at the skulls, not quite as extreme an underbite as this, but they do have a weird little chin protrusion. Probably meant that Giganotosaurus is doing more biting with the front of his mouth than with the rest of his mouth, as opposed to something like a T-Rex that's doing a lot of hard chomping in the back. One thing you'll definitely notice in the movies, it kind of makes him stand out from the other big meat eaters on screen, is that Giganotosaurus has low crests running down the top of his head, kind of like evil eyebrows already baked in, makes him great for being the antagonist. Ours just has these evil little beady eyes though. While bigger than a T-Rex might not be the exclusive club it was back in the 90s when Giganotosaurus was found, it's still quite the honor to be one of these few 40-foot plus meat-eating dinosaurs. Though some newer finds of T-Rex might put him back in the running for the biggest, baddest meat-eating dinosaur, Giganotosaurus is still a candidate we can't forget. The better skeleton, what we call the holotype, the one it was named after, was pushing 40 feet long, and there's partial material from possibly a 45-footer that's been found. Giganotosaurus means giant southern lizard, though he did have some distant cousins from up north like Carcuradontosaurus here, meaning high-spined lizard, from those spines you can probably see on his back. We now know they probably would not have been spikes protruding out in a gnarly fashion like that. They'd probably support a hump more like what you'd see on a bison. Though this animal is another one in that club I mentioned of dinosaurs that are bigger than a T-Rex. The family of Carcuradontosaurus and Giganotosaurus are called Carcuradontosaurs. The idea is that they were probably mainly eating long-necked dinosaurs. Though when you're as big as these guys got, you can kind of eat whatever you want to. Their heads are an interesting piece to that puzzle of what they ate. They're not as bulky as a lot of other meat-eating dinosaurs. They're kind of squished side to side, and they have longer, more blade-like teeth than you would see on something like a Tyrannosaurus. On these models, you can see a little bit better that low crest that's running down the snout. You can also kind of get a size comparison. They're about the same size here. Though with Carcuradontosaurus, you can't tell, he's got more of that hump. Though this interpretation still decided to give him those spikes, and it makes sense they'd look a lot alike. Like I said, they are members of the same family, although Carcuradontosaurus is like 40 million years earlier than Giganotosaurus. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Once you figure out a good body plan, you just kind of keep doing the same thing. This is a tooth from one of the Carcuradontosaurs, the member of the family they're in. It's pretty nasty, and you can see serrations on the side of it for cutting and slicing, and it's a very blade-like tooth with a nice big root to make sure it stays embedded in the thing's jaw. Though, like I mentioned, the Tyrannosaurs kind of blow these guys out of the water when it comes to teeth. I have here a Tyrannosaurus Rex Tooth. It's a ton bigger, but more of the tooth is taken up by the root. It's going to be this space here. Very little of it is actually sticking out of the jawline, but you can still see the serrations on the side of the tooth. Though for Tyrannosaur serrations, if you look at them under a microscope, they have a bit of a different shape than most other meat-eating dinosaurs, probably because the Tyrannosaurs were eating bone, and you can see this tooth is a lot fatter in its cross-section than the little old Giganotosaurus tooth. Though this comparison says more about how big T-Rex teeth are and less about how small Giganotosaurus teeth are, because this thing is still gargantuan. Now, I've only scratched the surface on these animals, so if you have any other questions about Carcuradontosaurus, Giganotosaurus, or anything about life in the past you want to know more about, next time you're exploring the Dinosaur Park, feel free to flag down one of our docents. We're more than happy to geek out with you and tell you anything you want to know. Just maybe don't ask this guy, he's not that talkative.